Hey guys.
Hey guys, it's Scotch for Dummies.
Scotch for Dummies. Yeah, we're Scotch for Dummies, right? Four of us.
us.
Hey, welcome to the show. Every Monday we do Scotch reviews for you. We give our opinions. Hopefully, it will make a difference in your wallet. So, who's up?
I guess it's me.
That
would be
right?
you.
So,
What do we got?
So we've got, we talk a lot about Wolfburn.
Yes, we do.
Only because I have
Real House.
I have an affection for Wolfburn. I like the story behind it.
It's cool.
You know, they went up, they found the one brick that was left of the distillery that used to be there, and they built a whole new distillery on that site.
Yeah.
You know, they hired archaeologists to find it. You know,
Right.
so I mean that's pretty cool.
Right.
Obviously, it's a newer distillery. The stuff that they're putting out right now is 3 years old. It's what they've got. So
Minimum. Yeah.
they're putting up some other stuff, and I can't wait to try it when it gets to
Of course.
12 and 15 and 18 years. But for right now, their 3-year-old stuff is good. And their initial release was what we tried, and we've had several bottles on this bar. That is their
Amazing.
lightly
Great.
peated edition. This is the Aurora. So this one is finished in Oloroso sherry casks. It is also a 3-year-old.
Love it.
So it's going to be a younger whiskey.
Baby.
I'm kind of intrigued by this one because what I liked about the other one was that slight peatiness.
It's not in this one.
And this is not going to be peated at all. This is the northernmost distillery on the Scottish mainland. So they do have some sea influence. They're right up there on the edge of basically the Arctic, right? I mean, they're way the hell up there.
Well, the thing is that the reason that Scotches take so much longer than bourbons is because of the climate.
Right.
And being even the farthest north, it's like, how do they get anything out of this?
Well, and
Right.
they talk about, it's a slow fermentation process. It's a slow distillation process. So
That fermentation.
I'm kind of curious, I think that it will be unique when it gets into the 12 and 15 and 20-year-old range to try this whiskey to see how that maturation differs that far north. But I really liked the one that we've had before, and I was anxious to try this one. I've kind of heard some mixed reviews, so I'm going into this with an open mind.
Yep.
But I think that this will give us a much better idea of their new make and what they're
good.
actually putting out. So let's see what we got, fellas.
46 ABV.
I'm
and
curious.
It's natural color,
Yeah.
non-chill
And
filter.
46 is right.
Yep.
So the distillery's been around since 12, we're going to say? Something like that?
Uh,
12, 13, I
After
can't remember.
2010, yeah. I mean,
Okay, somewhere. I'm curious to see how long they continue to just release 3-year-old, if they're going to up it and release a 6-year-old. I mean, obviously they've got where stock
I'm
put
sure
back
they
for
do.
12 or 10,
Right.
whatever their core range they want
Right.
to be. But are they just going to continue to throw out 3, or are they
I
going
bet
to
they will. I mean, I think that might be a change.
They
in the
gotta
future of
pay- they
Scotch,
gotta
to be
pay the
honest with
bill.
you.
Yeah, they got to keep the lights on.
Well,
man.
honestly, I think that there's really, if it's selling, there's really no reason to put out a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old.
Let's talk about price point. What do we pay for this bottle?
So you're looking at about $50 to $60.
50 to 60 bucks for a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
So it's not
Yeah, I mean,
not inexpensive, but I kind of chalk it up to this. I like supporting the little guy. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And so I don't mind throwing a little bit of extra money just to, hey, get up off your feet. Let's see what you got.
So, and
You
here's something to note. Hey, you know what? Everybody that's throwing a bottle of NAS at you, they could just as easily put 3-year. They're the ones that had the sack to put 3-year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They
Good
could have
point.
said
Good
NAS.
point.
They could have said,
Three.
but
Oh, yeah.
you
this
know
is
what?
long.
They're like, hey man, this is 3.
We just built the distillery.
Right.
We can do math.
We're working
so-
here.
So
All right.
I'm getting marzipan.
Are you?
Marzipan on the nose.
Well, I'm getting something similar.
Getting
I'm getting.
almond,
You're gonna
nutty,
laugh,
yeah.
but I'm getting rubber rice pudding.
What's
Rice
that?
pudding.
It's like a rubber smell
No.
mixed in rice pudding.
I get grass.
I can see rice pudding. I can see grass. It's a very young. It does smell like new make to some extent.
I got your rubber.
I
tire
get your
a little bit.
nuttiness.
You get
Yeah.
I get a
sulfur?
little bit.
I get a little bit of lemon.
I get lemon grass is what I get.
Lemon,
I can get behind that.
lemongrass.
Definitely
I mean-
a younger scotch. I don't
Yeah.
get a whole lot of complex flavors
Lots of floral.
or odors.
Yeah, but at the end of you take a real
I like
good
it.
deep whiff, it gets really light at the end, florally light.
I like the nose on this. I mean,
Really, it's really light. I mean,
but it's. I mean, it's just. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
good.
there's a little lemon in there.
you gotta dig for it. I mean,
It's got like a creme brulee kind of thing going on.
not
Like
much
a
though.
no on the palate.
Oh, on the palate.
Yeah. It's got like a caramelized sugar and
Okay, Soloroso sherry, natural coloring. I mean, that shows you what 3 years will give you.
I got Pop Rocks.
Right?
You got Pop Rocks. Oh my God. It's definitely got some bang for 46%, and I mean, it's not like killing me. I'm not dying with alcohol burning you. It's the flavor that's giving you that pop, right?
Yeah. Well, no, actually, it almost feels like it's popping a little bit. Yes.
So my initial palate was you got a little bit of malt. You know, you can tell the malt in the grain. The malt. I mean, it's not a grain whiskey. It's a single malt, but you can tell the malt in there. It rolls over, and then the finish was pretty hot for me on this. That first sip was a little hot on the finish, but the initial palate wasn't bad.
Yeah, it's got a lot of crisper, cleaner flavor stuff going on. So I think that 46% is hitting a little bit harder than it normally would.
It's a nice, clean drink. Like
It
it's
is.
a little sweet. It's
Now,
nice.
you're not going to get a long aftertaste.
You could pour
on
2 or
this.
3 of these and
No.
be very happy.
You know, you're no long palate here.
Nope.
3 years. It didn't have long to mature, guys, right? How much can you get out of sitting in those guys for 3 years when a lot of guys are putting 12, 15, 18 plus, right?
Yeah.
I actually
Lemon
like
meringue
the balance,
pie.
actually.
Especially in Northern Scotland.
Like if you,
lemon meringue pie.
like if you
Yeah,
toasted the meringue on
the
top.
top, yeah,
you know
the
what I
top,
mean?
yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Well,
Yeah.
that's that nuttiness. That's
That's a
the
good call.
malt or the bread in there, and then you get a little bit of lemon. You put it all together.
That's a good call, Sean.
Yep. A little sweetness on the.
I'm afraid to put water in it.
Right.
But
46%. It
I
might
think
have
it'll
a
hold
drop.
I don't think
it'll
it'll
drop.
I
I
think it's
don't
gonna
think
mess
it
the
will
taste up.
I think it's
It's so light.
it's
is
so
light.
light. I'm afraid. But that's right.
There's not a lot of complexity. To be honest, I think that this Scotch was probably, it's 3 years old. It's probably meant to be drank neat. I don't. But
Or
you know what?
mixed
We've been
balance.
wrong about putting water on stuff before.
It's a little
So
expensive to mix, but
I'm not mixing this with anything. I actually like the flavor.
I do too. It's a pleasant glass.
I
Yeah,
think that
I
the
mean, it's a good, fair, solid glass. There's nothing to ding it about. I mean, when you take into respect for what it is,
it didn't get bad. But it did. It lost
Yeah.
its
Gotta
kind
go
of
neat
neat
with this
character.
I will say that I can tell, thinking back to the other bottle of Wolfburns that we've had, the peat adds a complexity
It
to
does.
the sweet and floral of
Yeah.
this Highland that I think really does it justice. The sherry cask, I think it just needs more time. It just needs that extra few years to develop
Yeah.
more complexity to get more stuff out of the barrel.
Well, and when you're that far north, you're not getting.
Right.
No.
It's gonna be hard. to get in.
I don't think the water did anything to the nose. I still did the same.
Nose is about the same, but the palate stuff in weaker.
Okay, I've done that, but I mean,
I think this is a perfect. I mean, actually, segue to the water. What it did for me is I think this is a really good switch if you're trying to get out of the Macallan line and trying something a little different. This is going to be a nice segue into that because, especially if you like putting it on rocks, because add a little bit of water to it, it's a perfect balance for me. Kind of like watering down just a little bit.
it's funny you brought up Kellen, because honestly, when I was going through my assessment here earlier, I kind of was getting a reminiscent of the double cast that we just sampled not too long ago. I mean, it doesn't have there's no McKellen sulfury smell that that's the traditional McKellen, but it reminds me of that in the lightness. That's because this really is a super light.
Reminds me of Kilhoman.
Oh,
I can
a little
see
bit.
that.
Yeah.
Light and good. I mean,
That's
it's
a
really
good one.
nice.
Yeah, I like that.
That
Well-
Machier Bay that we did, is that what we did?
I'm gonna do one more sip. and I can be ready to go.
Have at it.
I like this one, boys. I think it's a great rapport. I mean, for 60,
55,
Yeah,
60.
I mean, that's a little pricey, I think, for what you're getting. But I mean, because to me, this is on the level of like your Bilkins or your Macallans. I mean, it's kind of an entry level, but it's a nice subtle sweetness to it with a little vanilla and custard, if you will. Nothing major at all. Very nice and light. I'm gonna give this one a 2.5. I like it. I'm gonna ding a little bit for the price, but I could probably have 2 or 3 glasses of this one easy. It's a very enjoyable drink.
I'm not arguing with that. I agree with everything you said, including the 2.5. I think that it's starting to get some character, but it's not there yet. And it's only 3 years old, so I'm not really dinging it that hard. I think that this distillery is going to put out a lot of good Scotch. I'm excited to try more of their stuff as it ages. But for right now, for a 3-year-old, I think a 2.5 is where I'm at on this.
All right, I'm tripping out of the gate on a 2. I liked it a lot neat, and so I was leaning 2.53ish neat. Water didn't change the nose at all, so I'm still running that 2.53. Palate,
Yep.
doggone it.
I knew it
I mean, honestly, I shook my head. And and that's okay. It's a 46%. It's gonna happen. It's 3 years old. I mean, it's still a great dram. I'm gonna give it a solid 2 and enjoy every bit of it. I'm very excited about the distillery and what they're doing and where they're going.
Yeah.
And I don't want this to be a negative. A 2 is a solid, mediocre, right down the line, $60 Scotch that everybody needs to try. So if you see it in a bar, make sure you pick up a dram.
Yep, I'm going to go with the 2 on it as well. It is a good middle of the road. It is a summer Scotch. It's not heavy. It's not meaty. The flavor is very pleasant. There's nothing in this that is off-putting, but $60 is a little high for that, and so that's why I'm giving it a 2. This is essentially their new make with a little bit of sherry in it. I can't wait for the older stuff, and I love what they did with the original Wolfburn. They put it in Lefroy casks and just peated it up. That was money.
I don't know how much that cost.
This one
was money well spent.
Yeah,
this wasn't as money. I'm going to give it a 2.
So, question for you guys. So, for our viewers out there, how often can you find this? How available is this everywhere? Is it everywhere?
Yeah, I see this one quite a bit.
Well, not everywhere. Most good.
If it's a good whiskey store, I think you'd be able to find it no problem.
Well, if you happen to pick it up, I think you're going to enjoy it. If you were a rocks person, I think you should try this without rocks and just a dab of water. Here you get the same kind of taste without having to worry about watering down too much. So just FYI on that. But
Nice.
I think it's really good Scotch. Where we at, guys? You did a 2.5?
2.5.
2.
I did a 2.5.
2.25.
2.25, and
Wow.
they're headed in the right direction, guys. I mean, honestly, you see one of these guys in a bar or on a shelf, whether it's the Aurora or the original one that we did.
And they have a third label now too.
I mean,
That's just in bourbon casks.
give these guys a look. I mean,
I'm really
we
excited.
could only hope and pray that we're the little guy.
Hit the like button, subscribe right now if you can. Every Thursday we are live, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Sláinte.